Hello everyone, welcome back to Total Football Talk, and we're going to look at all the latest news, transfer news coming out of Manchester United. Apologies, my mic is all over the place today, but we'll keep going and we'll try and get there. There's plenty of news coming out. We're still waiting on the Bruno Fernandes news to see whether he's decided to stay or go. We'll look a little bit at what's going on there. We'll look a little bit about the Mbeumo and Tyler Dibbling links. We'll look a little bit at what's being said about Victor Gyökeres, a little bit on Jadon Sancho and Alvaro Fernandez. And apparently there's a surprise swap deal with Manchester United and Chelsea. So we will have a look at that and see who is involved in those, which is absolutely fascinating. But first of all, we will look at the top story, which is Bryan Mbeumo, and this is Tyler Dibbling. Tyler Dibbling is an alternative to Mbeumo. The price would have to be around 40 to 50 million bracket, but United really like him. Is it Manchester United really like him, or is it a Jason Wilcox thing? Jason Wilcox obviously has his links with Southampton. I actually haven't been there as their academy director. Would he want to go back in and try and take Tyler Dibbling away? That's a question. But most importantly, who would you like? Who would you like to come in? Would you like Mbeumo, who is the tried and tested Premier League player who has got 20 league goals last season, who has played regularly and consistently and is in his mid-20s? Or would you prefer the precocious talent of Tyler Dibbling, who is a 19-20-year-old in the kind of mold of a Garnacho type young player who's still trying to find his feet, a learner driver, as is always stated on the United stand, or would you prefer, as I said, the experience of Mbeumo? I think Manchester United probably need the experience at this stage. If you look at what PSG did, they brought in a lot of young players. By God, they built an unbelievable team, and that was a brilliant victory for them last night. Now, obviously, the flip side to that coin is Qatar came in, and Qatar have been able to fund them on a regular basis to try and keep going and keep pushing. And eventually, they got to the promised land. Manchester United are in a completely different situation. Now that Qatar aren't involved with Manchester United, we have Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who's cost cutting. We've got the Glazers, who have no willingness to put any money into the club, and that leaves us in a situation where we are scraping the bottom of the barrel, trying to sell players like Garnacho, who I thought probably would have had a big future. Unfortunately, he doesn't. At Manchester United, doesn't seem that way anyway, and we are kind of left in a situation where we're trying to bring in Mbeumo from Brentford, who is a very good player, great stats, and I would probably go with him over Dibbling at the minute, just because I think we personally need a little bit of experience. We've got a lot of young kids coming through that are very talented. Shelley, one for example, Tyler Dibbling mold, that kind of 10 off the striker, great balance, great skill, can beat a man, can pick a pass. We already have some of these young players coming through, so I'd prefer to go for Mbeumo and try and bring our young kids through behind him if I had the choice to do it. But there obviously we're still waiting on the Bruno Fernandes transfer to kind of decide itself, or Bruno has to decide what he wants to do. Does he want to go to and stay with us, or does he want to go and take the fortunes that are inside? It's coming from Simon Mullock that Manchester United are interested in Pedro Gonclaves as a replacement for Bruno Fernandes. Now, I don't know too much about him. I don't know whether he is a good replacement or whether he is just Ruben Amorim dipping back into a market that he knows very, very well. Obviously, Gyökeres is another one. Do we want to have the same mistakes that Erik ten Hag did, where he went just for players that he knew? There was an issue with that. I don't mind it that much, but I think you have to be careful. As I said, we have been linked with a lot of sporting players in Acho. We wanted to try and buy Giovanni Quanda, who obviously went to Chelsea. We lost out on that one. So there's a lot of links of Ruben Amorim wanting to go back to the team that he originally managed and bring and cherry pick some of his best players from that. So we just have to be careful on that one. I don't know too much about this. It'll be interesting to see if anything does happen, but it all comes down to whether Bruno will be. It all comes down to whether Bruno Fernandes is actually going to move, and this is the latest on Bruno Fernandes, and it's Bruno Fernandes is making the deal for Al-Hilal more complicated than anticipated because he keeps on changing his contractual demands. Now that kind of says to me that Bruno was obviously interested in the move. There's obviously a lot that excites Bruno. Bruno has probably looked at the state of Manchester United, and he probably wonders what is he going to learn, or not what's he going to learn, not even what's he going to earn, but what's he actually going to gain by staying at Manchester United. Yes, he will get the acclaim from the supporters, but for himself personally, he's already won the League Cup, he's already won the FA Cup, he lost two Europa League finals. He isn't going to get anything else out of Manchester United. We ain't winning the league anytime soon. We're just going to be fighting for the League Cup and the FA Cup again, and he's already won those. So will he look at it and think, oh, maybe I want a fresh challenge? I'm 31. Maybe Manchester United could bring in £100 million plus. Would that be beneficial to the club, allowing us to buy the players of Mbeumo and maybe a Gonclaves, and allowing us to move forward? It's all up in the air. It all kind of rides on what Bruno does. Bruno may stay. He may captain the team again for another couple of years, and maybe at least bring us back up the league and get us fighting for top four. Is that what his aim is, to keep himself kind of worthy in the European standings? Obviously, there's a World Cup coming up. Does he want to go to Saudi just before the World Cup? Is that a bad mistake? So there's a lot for Bruno to decide. There's a lot riding on his shoulders, especially with the fee that's being sort of bantered around there. But we'll just have to wait and see. I've got a funny feeling that Bruno may go. I think he's pushing the demands as high as possible. It was reported £21 million a year. That's 63 million over the 3-year contract. That's unbelievable amounts of money. Maybe he can raise that higher. The transfer window is open as of today, so things will start moving very, very quickly. Okay, we'll move on to the next one, and this is a story I don't believe. It says Manchester United are hoping to use the expertise and the connections of Christopher Favell to beat Arsenal to the punch for Benjamin Cesco. I do not think this is the case. I think Cesco would cost around 80 million. We don't have that money. Gonclaves is cheaper. I think Gonclaves is a more experienced striker, and I think we need in both those departments. Obviously, we lost out on Delap. Delap has decided to choose go Chelsea, which is fair enough in Delap. I wasn't a massive fan of Delap. I think he's a very good player. I just think the weight on the shoulders of the kid coming in at Manchester United trying to be the main striker, I think could have maybe crushed him. So I think for his sake, maybe he's made a smarter move. And that leaves the door open for Manchester United to try and find another striker. Can we do that? God, I hope so, because we need a bloody good striker. Cesco, this story has come out. I just don't think there's anything in it. I can see the Favell links being potentially interesting, but I don't think Manchester United are going to go near Cesco. If they do, I'll eat my hat. But okay, we'll move on to the next one, and this is Manchester United could likely get done one more deal with the signings from the money that are made from Alvaro Fernandes and Jadon Sancho. Now, if Jadon Sancho was to sign for Chelsea, that's 25 million. I think it's about 14 million Manchester United make from that. The Alvaro Fernandes one between 5 and 10 million. So 25 million maybe Manchester United could bring in clear profit on those two players if they actually move. But when are they going to move? Is Jadon Sancho actually going to sign his contract? Question marks still kind of reside over that one. Will Alvaro Fernandes move to Real Madrid? I mean, brilliant move for the kid. He's done fantastically well. I never thought we should let him go in the first place. I did think this was a mistake from Ten Hag. I've said it before. Kid's on the rise. Very, very good left-sided player. And yeah, if he moves on to Real Madrid, I hope he does well. But I hope we manage to get maybe 10 million for him, and that money needs to go straight back into our coffers to make us, viable again for fighting for transfers. Now, this was a story that came out, and United and Manchester United and Chelsea have held talks over a potential swap deal between Kobbie Mainoo and Cole Palmer. Manchester United insisted for 20 million on top of Palmer. Now, again, another story. Cole Palmer is more of a Bruno style player, better off the 10. Would be an interesting. I can't ever see this happening. I can't see it being a swap deal. Maybe Chelsea are interested in Mainoo. I just can't see it being a swap deal and money being involved. As I said before, very few of these actually happen. Very few of these take place. Very few of them actually work. So I don't think there's anything in this one, and I just think it's one of those stories that will just kind of rumble on, and I don't think there's anything in it, but we'd bring it to you. We just thought it was an interesting one. And finally, Manchester United have had contact with Gonclaves, and they're in discussions, and as it stands, he's considering his options. Now, obviously, Liverpool I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool come in and get him. They do their business quickly. They don't mess around. They'll want a striker because Darwin Nunez is going to leave. I don't think they have to wait until he leaves to bring in a striker. I think they're probably okay for FFP and PSR. They're probably able to just go out and buy the player they need, and that could be Gyökeres. Personally, Gyökeres was the one I wanted. I think he would fit Manchester United well. He knows Ruben Amorim's system as well as anyone, and he already has experience in the Championship. And he's done very well in the Portuguese league, winning everything this year, and he's done well in the Champions League. I think he is the best. I'm not saying he's the best striker in the world. I'm not getting carried away, but he's probably the best striker that we could get for now. Can we sell him this ideal vision that Manchester United can move forward without the allure of European football? That is on the board. I don't know whether they're capable of doing that. It's on the board also to do the same thing for Mbeumo. What I should have said was Newcastle are obviously interested, but Ben Jacobs did say in an interview that Manchester United, or that Mbeumo is not a player destined, or not a player who desperately wants European football. He wants to be sold a vision, and if that vision is Manchester United and we can sell him it, then we could potentially get him. And that also goes for Victor Gyökeres. It's on the Manchester United's recruitment and sort of ability to sell the vision of the club to these players to bring them in. Are they capable of it? It's a massive summer. Everything resides on whether we can sell the club and whether Bruno Fernandes stays or goes for the amount of money that he could generate or the leadership that he could carry on into the future. Massive couple of weeks coming up for Manchester United. Stay with me. Thanks very much for staying to the end. If you have done, please get the old likes button. Hit the old like button. Please hit the old subscribe button if you would. And I'm going to leave it there, and I shall see you tomorrow. Unless there's a bit of breaking news about Bruno Fernandes today, and I will try and do a couple of minutes on it. Okay, guys, thanks very much for watching. Appreciate all the support, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.